What's up, everyone? Thank you for joining us on the first episode of the Boymom Social Club podcast. I am so thrilled. I have my friend here, my long-term friend. She is a boy mom. She is a beautiful soul, and she is here. 15 years of friendship. I cannot wait to get into this conversation with you guys. I'd like to introduce my friend, my sister, Judy, and her handsome son, Quincy. Thank you guys for joining us.
Thank you for having us.
How's it going? Thank you. So listen, Boy Mom Social Club, we are all here to talk about the highs and the lows of what it is to be a boy mom and what that looks like. So here we are. And I know we got some hot topics today, and let me just get into it. So I got a little, I want to just kind of like break the ice because I know this is our first podcast, and I know it. Have you ever done a podcast before?
Never done a podcast.
What about you, Q?
I have, yes.
You have?
Yeah.
Oh,
Some
okay.
friends.
So this is our first podcast, and I wanted to just kind of break you into the podcast world and make you feel comfortable. And because we're sisters, and it's just us talking.
Yes,
so
definitely.
play a game of this or that. Jordan's on toddlers. How do you feel about that?
Well, since he was my first, he got Jordans on his feet all the time.
Period.
Damn right.
Jordans on toddlers. We love Jordans on toddlers. I don't give a whoop.
Yeah.
Okay, so is it too early to teach your son how to man up or let him feel his feelings?
Well, as my first son, I have two sons, so he's my first one. With me, I was like, shake it off. We shaking this off and we're moving on. And he would shake it off and we would move it on.
Okay.
That's how we handled it.
Specifically, she said, shake that shit off and tighten up.
Tighten it up.
Yeah.
All right. I like that. Are boys naturally messier, or is it that it's a lazy stereotype?
From my experience with two sons, they're lazy. They don't care.
What do you think, Hugh?
Truthfully, it just depends on if I got work and then class or workouts, or like if I have things back to back to back. At the end of the day, yes, my room is going to be messy, but I do a Sunday reset or a Saturday reset every single week. So my room, you can go look at my room right. I could FaceTime and really see my room. My room is clean.
Yes,
Okay.
he reset
it's
yesterday,
amazing.
but at 3, 5, 7, 11, 15, the room was a locker room.
Yeah, it smelled like one too.
Yes.
Okay, I know you have a younger son too. So, do you think little boys need sports, or can he just chill with like Roblox?
No, we're not chilling with Roblox. I never agree on that. I definitely a sports mom.
Yes.
Quincy was every sport. And
Literally.
You play sports now?
I do, yeah. Basketball. I honestly, I love competition more than anything. It's like not the specific sport. I'm a football guy through and through, but I had to do. I went through surgery and had to choose a sport, and my dad kind of helped me choose. He helped me choose basketball.
Okay, I've seen some of your videos of basketball. You're really, really good.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I appreciate that. That would mean a lot to my dad because he definitely put in a lot of time with me, even though I didn't listen.
Okay, okay. I love that. So do you feel like basketball would be the end all be all for you? Or do you like other sports other than just basketball and football? Have you tried golf?
I love golf. I've been golfing since I was like 5, 6.
Okay.
My clubs are in my trunk right now. No,
All
literally.
right. Okay, you got a multifaceted son over
Yes,
here. I love that.
definitely. Yes.
So what would you say for new moms that are raising like toddlers? what can they expect? Because you have two sons. You have an adult son, and then you have, how old is your other son?
11.
Okay, you have an 11-year-old. So what can you kind of give for a boy mom that's coming up?
As a boy mom, boys require love, a lot of attention. You have to be rough. As a mom, it's not a circle, it's not a square. You just go with the flow with them. I've been pitching, I've been playing ball, I've been scratched. I'm there. I'm the pitcher, the catcher, I'm there.
Rebounder.
The rebounder. Yeah, I've been there. I would say there's no book or another person can't tell you how to be a parent. Honestly, it's a one day at a time, and every child is different. Every child, you're going to learn what works for them may not work for the next child, and that's what I've had to learn. I'm also have a blended family, so I have 3 other sons.
Oh, wow. How many sons is that?
5.
That's 5 boys.
Good grief.
And 1 girl. So
Oh,
I'm
God bless
literally
you.
a boy mom. Yes.
Yes. Shout out to the only girl.
Yeah. Oh,
She's-
no.
oh, my
She
Lord.
is a princess.
lot.
Yes.
Okay, I love that. Wow. A
Yes.
house full of boys.
Yes.
Whew, how are you navigating through that?
She's a thug.
You definitely got to be strong. I think I've always and you know what? One thing, you get used to smelling pissy toilets.
Ugh, girl, we're not
That's-
even gonna get into pissy toilets, but yes,
Yes.
that is part of it.
That's
I
part
clean my toilet.
after he pisses on it for a week though.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ugh, I know all about pissy toilets.
You know, you just go with the flow, but I did learn that every child is different. Every
Okay.
child demands different type of attention. What one may like, the other one doesn't like.
For Quincy, for instance, how does he? What type of attention did he need?
He was my first child.
You're smiling, okay?
Yeah, he is the oldest well, he's not the oldest with our blended family, but for me, he was my first. With him, it was mostly him and I. So he was my buddy. He needed a lot of attention when it came to sports. He would talk to everyone to try to help me. He wanted everyone to help me.
Aw,
Everyone. My
so
car broke
sweet.
down. He would be like, "Excuse me, sir, are you working on your car? Can you help my mom?"
That's too cute.
Yes, anything. He would just speak up for me all the time. He was my right-hand man.
I know that's right.
Yes.
That's right. I mean, I think that every mom would want to have that type of relationship with their son, to, like, you know, kind of just navigate through life, and you guys are growing up together, and just, like, you know, the ups, the downs,
Definitely.
the highs, the lows, like, just being there in that unconditional love, you know, that what sets, you know, being a mother to a son apart, you know? 'Cause
And I was young.
it's just different.
And I was 21 when I had him.
Oh, wow.
So
Yeah,
I
that's
think
young.
that made a lot of difference because we were both raising each other.
Mhm.
Weren't you 20?
21. I was 21 when I had
But
him.
you
2 months.
2 months.
Yeah, you're right. I turned 21 2 months after he was born.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness.
So I
How
was
was
young.
that?
That was it was an experience. I mean, it was I waited a long time after him to have another child. So
Man.
Yeah.
but it was both us raising each other.
Mm-hmm.
We learned a lot. We're still learning. I believe that even at this age, I never had a grown man as a child, you know, like I'm learning every day. I'm learning with him, even to communicate, even to, with everything going on in the world, explaining different things or mistakes I make, mistakes he makes. We talk about it. Not a perfect relationship.
I love that.
We have months sometimes that we don't speak, but then we come right back to, hey,
like we never left.
like we never left because first things first, I'm his mom.
Of course.
I'm not ever going anywhere.
Period.
Never going anywhere.
I know that's right. How do you feel about your mom?
My mom is a character. Let's say that first and foremost.
I'm gonna take that as a good character.
No, it's a good thing. It's a good thing because I developed a lot of my personality. Like obviously, like the first 5 years of a child's life is like where they develop their habits, the things like that and everything.
Absolutely.
And I learned so much from just like being a kid growing up with my mom. Like she said, we grew together, and she's like my best friend. Like we can literally be talking shit to each other about just like, like, look, this is what your brother did, this is what your sister did. Like, I remember when you were that age, and if you did that, I would have snatched you up. I'm still gonna snatch them up, but like I'm not gonna do it as hard. And it's one of those, like, the relationship with my mom, like she said, we can go periods of time without talking, and then like literally we'll get on a phone call, and it's like, hey, what you doing tomorrow? Like, it was like we talked to each other 10 minutes ago, a day ago, like literally that's it.
Yeah.
So she's my best friend.
Of course.
Yeah.
That's how it is, you know. I feel like a relationship with a mom and her child it's going to be, you know, it's not going to be perfect. It's going to be like a relationship. Period. You know, it's like some days your days are going to be good, some days your days are going to be bad. Like, but if you guys can build that communication and, you know, kind of get on the rim of understanding where the other one is coming from, I feel like that's when the relationship thrives, you know?
Yeah.
So, and I've heard things that say like your first son teaches you how to be a mom, but that second son humbles you real quick. Do you agree with that?
Humbles me in a different manner. I'm also in a different phase in my life. I'm also older.
Okay.
When I was raising Q at our younger age, I was a single mom. He had a dad, but I was a single mom raising him.
Okay.
Now I'm been married. My 11-year-old is in a 2-parent household.
Okay.
So it's way different. I always felt like I was such a superwoman for potty training him. We always talk about that,
Yeah,
right?
literally.
I'm like, I thought I was the best shit ever. You know, like it was I best thing ever than chocolate. Like I potty trained a boy. I literally showed him how to use the bathroom.
Okay.
And we talk about it all the time.
What
He knows
was that like? That's funny.
exactly. And he was just always so more advanced. And I feel like because of what he had to go through with me in life and learning and things like that, I feel like he would just get it. I'd be like, shake it off, let's go. He'll just come on. He would try to curse. He would get a little hot sauce in his mouth and we wouldn't be cursing anymore.
You
I
had
used to
hot
try and
sauce
cuss
in
all the
your
time,
mouth?
and then eventually
Do
it just
you
stopped
remember
working.
that?
Hell yeah, I remember that.
Yeah.
I remember that, and it eventually stopped working.
He
and it was
told one of my friends.
So
and
now
then
you're
told
a
her friend-
respectful young
He
man,
told-
right?
Yes.
Yes, because of that hot sauce.
He told one of my friends, don't tell my mom. The hot sauce not working anymore.
I remember saying that too.
Wow, that's crazy.
And I was like, okay. So the next time he thought he cursed, I had a new hot sauce for him. And yes.
Some habanero.
Yes.
You gonna learn today.
No, hey, I definitely did that. I genuinely remember like the saying like, oh, like the hot sauce not working no more. Don't tell my mom. And then just out of nowhere, it was one of those like my mom switched it up, and I'm like, why is it hot?
Start crying.
Why is it hot?
Yeah. So I bet that was a hard lesson. Like, don't be talking about your business to
Man.
somebody.
Only because he was always big. You know, he is almost 6'8".
Oh my God.
So he always was bigger than the average kid. So me carrying him at 3 years old, people would be like, put him down. That he's bigger than you. And I'm like, that's my baby.
right.
He's 3.
I couldn't be.
He's 3.
Yeah, he was 3. Like he was long. He was very big, always very big. 10-pound baby when he was born.
Oh my goodness.
9 pounds, 9 ounces.
And my thing was like, I
Wow.
can't teach. Growing up in South Central in LA, violence is everywhere. So I didn't want to teach violence with more violence. He sees violence, and I'm whooping him or putting my hands on him. So I would find different ways, and maybe it wasn't the right way with hot sauce, but that's what I knew then. You see an adult walk by, and I would try to teach him that because those weren't things I was taught all the time. And it was a young man, and I know how hard it is for a young Black male and biracial male.
Yeah.
You know, for him, everyone's going to look at him as this big old Black young man. For me, he's just a little boy.
Yeah. And
know,
always will be.
And always will be.
It's funny because like I'm in my mid-20s now, and it's like my mom, she literally has told me, I still see you as that 5-year-old, 6-year-old little kid that,
Like his face.
yeah.
Yeah.
They don't grow. I mean, he's growing up. And even the other day I said, I called him my little boy or something I did. I said, I'm sorry, I know you're a man. I always have to correct myself because I feel like he's growing up, but he's clearly a grown man. But to me, I always see his face as 5 and 6 years old. I don't know.
Oh. You know what? I'm looking forward to this. I'm like listening to you guys and I'm taking it in too because I'm a boy mom, of course. But my son, he's going through his teenage years and he's having all these emotions and just different things, and we have been like
Good
clashing.
luck. Good luck.
Right. First of all, coming from you, good luck. Oh Lord, what am I getting myself into right now? Anyways, so I'm just like listening and I'm taking it in because, you're going through it.
Yes,
Um,
definitely. Even with him, that was the part where we had to do shared parenting at that time. When he was in that 13, 14, 15, it was going back to dad, coming back to me. It was difficult.
Yeah.
It was very difficult. He was going through his own thing that as a woman, I didn't understand. His dad's like, oh, he needs to go with you. We just maneuvered it the best way we could. We always did tend to his needs. We thought what was best for him. Of course, they think they know what's best for them. And we always raised him. I feel like he can tell us his opinion, but we're going to do what's best for you.
Basically, translation, what she said, you can say what you got to say. That shit don't matter.
That's every parent in America. First of all, let's be clear.
I know.
No, but we do it out of love, and it's from a place where like we've been through shit and we want the best for you guys, so we're always gonna give it to you,
Straight.
Raw.
Yeah,
Always gave it to you raw.
Yeah,
that's one thing you can,
right.
Even when there was a gentleman, I can't remember his name right now. He got murdered. He was a young black male walking through the Florida projects. He was going to the store to get, remember?
Oh, the Skittles?
The Skittles. What is his name? And that guy shot him. There's the...
Yeah.
Trayvon
Martin.
Yes.
Oh, my God,
So at that time, Quincy had went to live with his dad in Fresno. Quincy had a habit of leaving at nighttime. Dad worked late. So he would go to the grocery store, but he would always wear his hoodie. And I would be like, just FaceTime me. We would FaceTime on his way, walking to the store, walking back. And those are the times.
I was
and
going
the
to the
things,
liquor store.
The liquor store to buy
and
a
you
snack.
were young, too,
yeah,
right?
Around the
right
same
across
age.
Right.
Not right across the street, but it was like I was young.
But it was the same scenario.
Right.
And it's like, it was such an awakening in the world, and you don't realize how close to home it is until I have a son that we live 4.5 hours away, and he's walking to the store to just get himself a drink and a snack. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, please don't wear your hoodie. Please don't wear a sweater. Please don't. And I'd be like, just FaceTime me. So he would be walking, talking to me. I'd be like, take your hoodie off. It was so traumatizing. And the things that you learn as a parent, like I said, there's no book and no one else can teach you these things.
That's right.
At those times, you didn't realize how much Trayvon Martin was going to affect me, or, you know what I mean, do something to me in my household because of my young son.
Right.
And I would explain that to him. And of course, he'd be like, Mom, you're tripping.
Right. They all
Mom, nobody's going to do anything to me. But that's what Trayvon Martin thought.
Do you understand that now?
I do understand it now. When I was like, it's like vividly remember like what she's talking about. It was cold in Fresno. I'm not gonna lie to you. It was freezing. Right. So I'm gonna walk. I'm gonna be covered up, bundled up, and it was like in my mind, like I'm just minding my business on my phone. Like I'm not doing nothing. But then like in retrospect, it's one of those like now that I'm older. Okay, just being a black man. Whether they can't tell how old you are, they don't know you, they don't know anything about you. They just see you, and like maybe there might be a 911 call that's like, hey, there's a male dressed in X, Y, and Z, and that is yay high and whatever, and it matches my description.
Right.
It might not be me, but they don't know that. So like seeing that, like just being aware, and then very thankful that I was actually able to FaceTime her, because it was like looking at it, it was like, okay, cool. I just want to get a snack, but to a police officer rolling by, oh, that's a suspect, go get him, guns drawn, this and that. And it's like, then we have another situation where it could possibly come out the way that Trayvon Martin's did.
Right. And that's scary.
Mm-hmm.
Because at a young person's age, the age that you were, you don't really know how to really talk to the police, like sometimes how they maybe want you to. So who knows, like, if you were to, answer the wrong way, or your body language says something different because you have your hands in your pocket, like that could have turned out in a way of, we wouldn't have wanted to, of course. So
we've had those conversations. Even because of basketball, he traveled a lot. So he would be in areas in Florida where
Atlanta, Indiana.
Yeah, where he dealt with racism. And my thing with him was put your hands on the dash. And those are things that I think a lot of parents don't realize unless you have a young, for me, because I'm Hispanic, a young male of color. And yes, he is a black male. But if you look at my son, you don't know what he's just a big, tall guy. Mm-hmm. But he can be intimidated to some. Yeah. And for us, I'm like, if you get pulled over, just put your hands on the dash. Don't try to argue with them. Don't try to say anything. Just that's a parent's nightmare.
Yeah, absolutely.
Especially with him, because he would travel all over by himself, or be with coaches, or be in a car with new people he met. You never know.
Yeah.
As a young male, you're okay. You're happy. You're having a good time. You're not thinking about repercussions. You're not thinking about, oh, we're going to get pulled over. Or, oh, they're looking at my race. Or I'm in a all, white neighborhood and I'm the only person and I'm really tall. He doesn't think like that.
Right.
So I would be the one making him aware. He'd be like, oh, Mom,
didn't think like that. I think like that now.
Yes.
Okay. Yeah. How old are you now?
I'm 26.
Okay.
Cut.
You're still young. Cut. You're still such a young man. How are you? How is it out here being a young 26-year-old in today's time? Because we grew up in a different time frame as you guys. You guys are dealing with social media and just everything where your whole life is on front stage. So as a young man, a young, handsome man.
Thank you.
How are you dealing with that? Like social media and, being young and handsome and a basketball player and, all the things.
What it means to me, I allow my social media and the people that follow me or that don't follow me and just want to lurk on my page, I allow them to see what I want them to see. Whether that's how I feel, that's not how I feel. If I'm putting something out, it's because I want you to see it. Not because maybe that may or may not be my true feelings on whatever it may be, but it's hard when everything's under a microscope. Like literally social media, the internet, like everything about it. Something gets posted, there's a picture that's dropped, there's whatever it may be, it's always going to be there, no matter what. And it's hard when you have fans. Like you have people that want to keep track of everything that you're doing. And I don't mean fans in a good way. I mean fans that want to see you do bad or want to see you just not be successful, truthfully. And it sucks, but at the same time, that's life. The only difference is it's behind the screen and they got more courage. Like having more courage behind the screen, what's that? It's dumb. But navigating it is just like being an athlete. You have to keep your head down, do what you got to do, and grind. It's one of those being able to, how do you say, it's as an athlete, you're under a microscope as well. Mm-hmm. And so you have to portray yourself as a good athlete, a good human being, a good person. And we all have flaws, but it's one of those things you can't get caught on camera. You can't get caught with text receipts or messages or anything like that.
Have you ever been has have you ever been in the light where someone has defamed your character?
Yes, I have.
What was that like?
It sucked, but I'm not gonna lie, for a split moment, it definitely did get me down. But it was one of those, respectfully, why the fuck would I give a damn about what you think about me when I know who I am? I know what I've done, I know what I haven't done, and I know the way that I was raised. So if somebody ever has anything to say something, or if anybody ever has anything to say about me, cool, great. Tell your friends, tell their friends.
Because at the end of the day, like, you cannot sit around and, you can't people please everybody. You can't please everybody. Someone's gonna get hurt. It's like the military. Like, there's gonna be some casualties of war. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Correct.
it's like you're not gonna always be able to, please the party. You're gonna have to have someone that's just not happy, with how you're moving. And that's okay, because you know what? You're still young. You're a young man, and you're learning and you're growing.
Very much so.
So, as a mother of a boy myself, I would want my son to know that it's okay to make mistakes. And if you do make mistakes, learn from them and move on. Like, we're not going to just keep dwelling on the same thing over and over and over again. Like, that's crazy.
That's one thing that,
you
like,
know?
my parents, my mom, my stepdad, my dad, my stepmom, even like extended family, they've taught me, like, you got to learn from what you do, and it's like, don't make the same mistakes twice. And one thing that my grandpa Mason, he tells me, if you want to do something, or how does he say it? He says, if you don't want to do something again, do it right the first time.
I know that's right. I love that.
Yes, and I have so many quotes from him. Literally, that just sit in my head.
Yeah.
But he literally, like, things that he tells me just like that resonate, just because it's like, okay, if you make a mistake and it's not done right, you're gonna have to do it again, and you're gonna have to fix that, and then you learn from the mistake that you made, and you continue to move forward. Like you said, I'm a young man that makes mistakes. I'm human. Everybody is, and at the end of the day, I can help making mistakes, but at the same time, I can't. And
You're learning.
I am learning. I'm 26.
Yeah.
Like,
you're still young.
I'm young, but at the same time, I am a man, and I know.
And single, ladies. Young and single. And handsome.
Hello.
This is true, but I'm not worried about things like that right now. It's just I'm trying to make my way by myself, do right by myself and my family, and make my family and myself proud, honestly.
Nobody's perfect at the end of the day. If you're able to look in the mirror at yourself and you see some sort of growth, then I feel like that is what makes you keep going forward. I want to ask you, as a mom, in this social media era, how do you, or what advice would you give your son in an era of social media when there's people that would come after him and defamate his character?
Well, Quincy comes from a village.
I know that's right.
Not
A
a
deep one,
perfect
too.
village. We all have made mistakes. Like I said, I was a young mom. He had a young dad too. We might have not always seen eye to eye with what we needed to do with him, but we've always all came together at the end of the day. In regards to social media, it's a hard avenue nowadays because everything is put on social media. Everything is supposedly, that's what it
Allegedly.
is. Allegedly. That's what it's real. If you said it, it's real. And Anybody can make fake allegations about somebody, and everybody wants to believe them
Without knowing the whole.
without knowing the whole story.
Right,
And
that
maybe at
sucks.
times, like I said, my son is young, handsome, not the richest, but he's working on it.
I definitely
get
am
there.
working on it.
He's getting there, but he's humble. He's a great kid. He's smart, handsome, a great brother, a great son, not a perfect person. But when none of us
But
are.
nobody is.
None of us.
Yeah, that's crazy.
Yeah, none
to
of us
think
are.
that we're perfect living in this crazy ass
Yes,
world.
but everyone in social media nowadays is allowed to paint a narrative or make allegations and things like that. And I, for one, have to contain myself because for me, I haven't been raised to be, I'm a protective mother. And I'm going to always protect my kids any means necessary. It doesn't matter who's coming for you.
Right.
I'm going to always show up and show up and show out. So I have to remember how old I am. And then I have to remember that some people are just not raised well or not taught or don't know any better. And then some people don't have self-esteem where they get a thrill out of making allegations or saying things that are not truthful because it didn't go their way.
Allegedly.
Didn't go their way.
Allegedly.
Oh yeah. Absolutely.
Um,
People do that all the time.
All the time. So, I'm just navigating through life and just being the best version of myself and being the best mom that I can be.
Say that in Spanish for me.
Aquí estoy. La madre del año. I love my kids. I have three kids and we're blended. So it's 6 of them.
Oh wow. Y'all are a Brady bunch.
Yes, we are a Brady bunch. I will stand guard for every single one of them.
I know that's right, Mom. Mama Bear.
So if you see me, just know that you think we're cool, but my kids, I'm number one. I'm a mom.
Period.
I'm a mom.
I love that.
My mom would definitely show up and show out. She could be in her 60s and she gonna do the shit. She gonna do what she gotta do.
That's right. And what does that mean, having a mom that will show up and show out? What does that mean for you? Like, how do you feel about that? Because that has to be a good feeling. You know what I mean? That you have a mom that is, spicy and feisty and that will ride for you at any given moment. And not just because she's your mom, because she does teach you from right from wrong. I know that.
Yeah.
For a fact that she teaches you what's right and what's wrong. But at the end of the day, how do you feel having a mother that is, very loving and very like hands-on and will call you out on your shit?
Like my mom said, I have a village and my village protects me no matter what. And I'm so thankful.
And we tell you when you're wrong.
Yeah, no, definitely. When I'm wrong, I will be told no matter what. But at the end of the day, whether I'm right or wrong, she's going to help me be the best possible person that I can. And if need be, she's going to do what she needs to do. And that just doesn't go for her. That goes for my dad, my uncles, my aunties, my cousins, my everybody. Everybody's going to do what they need to do. Exactly. Yeah. It's my village. And I'm so thankful for it because truthfully, like she said, I have a mom, a stepdad. I have a dad, a stepmom. But then I have my stepmom's family. And then I got my mom's family. Right. I got my stepdad's family. I got my dad's family. And it's like, we're deep. And at the end of the day, if I'm not doing what I need to do, somebody's definitely going to call me out on it.
They're going to call you out on your shit. Yeah.
And they're going to make sure that I get back on the right path that I'm not supposed to be on, but that is not the same, may or may not be good ways. And I wouldn't be the person I am today if it wasn't for my mom, my stepdad, my dad, my stepmom, my extended family.
Yeah.
Your village.
My village. And I'm very thankful for going through the things that I went through and experiencing all the experiences that I had as a child, as a teenager, as a man, because it taught me a lot. And like, I'm very good at reflecting. I had to, from a very young age, if I did something wrong, like she gave me hot sauce when I was cussing as a kid. There was just being an athlete. Obviously, you have coaches that teach you like, oh, you're not doing it right. Oh, you want to continue to do something wrong. All right, cool, go run. Do up downs. Do liners.
Push-ups.
Push everything. And it's like, now that I'm older, it's like, okay, after I go through an experience, I reflect like, I could have done this better. Yeah, I was wrong when I did that, but I stand by what I did, or I should have changed that. And
And you
learn.
have every right to be that way.
And learn.
You're still a young man, you know?
yeah, I'm learning. I'm learning. My mom is older than I am. I won't say how old you are. My mom is older than I am, and she's still learning to this day. My grandparents are still learning
Me
to this day.
too.
And it's like,
We're all learning. We're learning
And we
through
talk
you.
about that. Yeah.
we make
talk about
mistakes.
that.
We make mistakes.
Everybody makes mistakes, honey. So it's not, you're not going to be condemned to the cross. Like you're able to make those mistakes, and that's how you grow in life, period. So
And some things are construed as mistakes by other people, but may or may not be mistakes.
yeah, it's okay. So with that being said, what would be a piece of advice that you would give a boy mom currently raising a teenager who feels like they're losing their connection with their son?
I've always, since young with Q, I have always thought about doing a journal. We always talk about a journal, right?
Yeah.
Even with my friends, even with myself as a young, when I was a teenager, that was taught to me. Like, you know what? Sometimes you may not able to communicate, you may not able to speak, and I know some kids are gonna be like, "What? I don't want to write in a book." But till this age, Quincy pulls out a book and sometimes will write his thoughts down.
I love that.
And for a long time, he didn't want to, though. He would look at me, but when he was younger, I would see him writing in notes or writing in his book and putting it under his pillow.
Aww.
I think that as I do it as a grown woman, I feel like it's nothing wrong with journaling. For us, it's just writing your thoughts down and seeing the growth. Even if you're having a hard time with your child, I think that sometimes we don't understand what they're going through. As a mom, we're not males. We're not going to understand what a young man is going through because their hormones are different. We're not a male. I'm a female. I cannot tell a young man. All I did was try to talk to him.
Give him the best advice.
Be giving him the best advice and just being there for him. There was times where I would go to his games and he would see me show up like, "Oh, you're here. Why wouldn't I be here?" And I would just show up. You remember those times? Yeah. He would be like, "Oh my God."
I literally would be like, what the hell?
Yeah, why is she here? And
Aw.
I live in LA.
But did that make you feel good?
Yeah, it did.
Okay, good.
It was
Just show up on different times. He was in Fresno. I was in LA.
It was times I was just literally, maybe I was nervous for a game. Maybe I was dealing with something, and it just completely like took my mind off of like whatever I was nervous about or like whatever I was going through. And it helped me just perform better, I guess you could say. And then it allowed me to feel better about whatever it is that I was going through or that I was nervous about. So like it helped just to like, showed up.
Yeah.
Just showed up. Sometimes he didn't want to see me.
Why did he feel like that you wouldn't show up? Like, why would that even be a question?
At those times, I believe at that time he was living with his dad in Fresno.
Okay.
So I now married with I have 2 other kids in my blended family.
Yeah.
So
It was
I'm over here.
It was just an all at first.
Yeah. But I still would be like, you know what? I would talk to his dad. Communication got better as Quincy got older.
Yeah.
And I would speak to his dad. Oh, he's been having a hard time or this and this and that. I would show up. 4.5-hour drive, I'm there. And he'd be like, the coach would be like, "Oh, your mom's here." Oh, and I would be by myself sometimes. I'm just showing up by myself, sitting on the thing, and it would just be me.
Yeah.
I didn't need a whole rally, a whole set of cheerleaders. I was there for him.
Right.
For his mental health. And for me, that's what it is. Every child, what I've learned as a mom of a blended family and my own 3 kids is that they all need their time. Even when I would pick up my husband's kids, I would have my time with just them. And I would be like, hey, what do you want to do? What do you need? And that's what I did.
And that's important.
And that was important for me. With them, it wasn't about being their mom. It was more about being there. I'm your dad's wife. I'm here if you need me. For my son is, I'm your mom. I'm here whether you want to talk or not. I'm right here.
I love that.
As I got older, I noticed that too. Like, just like how I said, like looking in retrospect or just like acknowledging like the little things, I saw that like she showed up.
Right.
Like she definitely showed up.
Yeah.
And it, whether I was grateful for it at the time, I'm grateful for it now. And there was times where I was like, oh, she's here. Yes. Like, cool, whatever. And then there was times like, damn, she's here.
She's watching me.
She's watching.
You're a stalker.
We don't like stalkers, but
we deal with stalkers with him.
Oh, wow. I can imagine.
Yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah. Well, I love this episode, and I just want to thank you both for coming on the Boy Mom Social Club podcast.
thank
And
you.
being my first ever guest. I'm glad that we were able to touch on things that were important that, that other moms could relate to, that the moms that are coming up with teenage boys that can kind of grab something from this episode and take it with them to, maybe it'll help someone or hopefully it will.
That's always the goal. Right?
Yes, that's always the goal. If you love this episode, please like, subscribe, and follow us on all social media platforms. That's Instagram, YouTube, TikTok.